Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer. Welcome back to Motorsport Manager. This is episode number 19. We're in Dubai, and it is time for qualifying. Of course, the big news of the season so far is the new driver lineup. We've wooed Max Verstappen away from Red Bull. So with him, along with Jean-Eric Vergne, we have a very good drivers lineup. Plus, Verstappen, of course, still has all of that potential to improve. We've got both cars at 98% on their setup, so they're both looking really good right now as we get into this race. Let's go ahead and start qualifying. We will take our first round of qualifying. Of course, I do not expect to get very far with these two, but we're, of course, in for a dry race here. So we'll take Verstappen out there first. And you can see he's actually putting in very similar times between the Ultras and the Super Softs. We're going to be running Super Softs for the race, Ultras for today. And we have lots of sets of tires left. So let's go ahead and get Verstappen out there for his first run. As the Ferrari heads out as well, I expect that they will comfortably pull away from me in the near future. Let's get through that first chicane, and then we could start warming the tires up a bit. Brakes through there. There we go. Now we push. Braking zone, and accelerate out. Accelerate out. Come on. Where is the tire temperatures? Why is it taking so long to get this up? Okay, you've already done your braking through here. Come on. Long, straight. Braking zone coming up. Okay, that's close. Let's go ahead and get Vergne out there. The braking zone right at the end really overheated those brakes. So we need to make sure they're a little bit cooler. So what we're going to try for Vergne is we're going to go a little bit in reverse this time. Let's heat everything up and then cool it down over time. There we go. Okay, things are going a little bit better this time. We're going to get that all sorted out. We're through that area. Now we can start cooling things down gradually. Come on, brake temps. Brake temps aren't coming down. Okay, much closer on Vergne. That'll help. Verstappen, 2 seconds off the pace, which was certainly better than practice. We were almost 4 seconds off the pace in practice. Now Rosberg, that's our closest competitor, as Rosberg Audi Sport. That's the recently promoted team. That's the F2 champions. So that's who we're looking to keep pace with, and Verstappen just behind him, about 2/10 down. Vergne is the other one. We are quicker than him at least, so we're ahead of him at the moment. Magnussen in the Haas, that's up there. Wickens is one we want to keep an eye on. That's Williams, but Williams has definitely got a better car than we do. Let's see, Cassidy is in the Toro Rosso. That's another one we want to keep an eye on. We'll be racing them a lot. Raikkonen in the Alfa Romeo is slowest of all. Vergne goes slower than both Verstappen and Vergne. So Ericsson, last one we're waiting on, and Ericsson is slowest. So there you go. The Alfa Romeo looks slowest this race weekend, but Vergne just 6 milliseconds ahead of him at the moment. I suppose it's not that bad that we're in 20th and 22nd for now. And what are we looking at for times? Minute 10, so we need about a 2-minute window. I'll send these guys out about 10-15 seconds apart so we can get the best track grip before the end. Grip is still very low at the moment. We'll see if it picks up a little bit. Let's go and give it Verstappen. So we're going to go at 2:15. What? 2:08. Close enough. Fresh set. And then Vergne. Fresh set. We're going to set Vergne on auto. Meanwhile, Verstappen, let's get you Doing what we did with Vern, which worked much better. Set that to auto. And now we go ahead and get with Verstappen and try to get his lap set up well. Alright, so we start slowing things down here. Okay, close. So much closer than the last lap, so we'll see if Verstappen can put in a better time. Meanwhile, Vern gets tire temps just right, but messes up the brake temps at the end the way I did for Verstappen. So I'd imagine that Vern is probably not looking at a better time, but we'll keep an eye here on Verstappen. Currently, we are 20th, 22nd as everybody's on their out laps or in. Ericsson and Raikkonen are on in laps already, so they have not improved their time. So at this point, we're looking to move up. Rosberg, Verline, done. So Verstappen and Vern, the ones to keep an eye on. Verstappen quicker in Sector 1, Vern slower. Verstappen slower in Sector 2, though, and he's already 2.7 down, so he's only got 4/10 to play with. So he was really slow in Sector 2. That's a little worrying, and he does not improve his time. Vern, last one to finish here, and he does not improve his time. And so there you go. 20th and 22nd is where we will start. Considering they have the slowest car, we are always going to be slow in qualifying until we can improve this car quite a bit more than we have. What I have noticed as we do head into the race, Hamilton quickest here in Q1, as we set ourselves up for the race, what I have noticed is that even though the car is still the weakest on the grid this season, there actually is a positive sign. What I did at the end of last season is I made sure I set up one part in every department that was the illegal parts. It was the best parts that I could put on the car to see the improvement. There's a significant gap between my best part and my worst part. That best part is the baseline. So that baseline that we're operating from for this season is actually significantly improved from where we were. So even though the car as a whole is the worst, right now all I have is new front wings for both drivers. But what we're starting from base-wise, Verstappen, he's at 22nd, so he's actually not the worst car on the grid. And it took way into last season, a good 2/3 of the way, before we saw ourselves above that bottom. Hamilton, again, quickest. Wickens and Kubica right at the bottom of those eliminated, so the Williams are still there in a competitive range for us. So even though the car average between the two is still the worst, that higher end, that baseline where we're starting from, still not good. Okay, I'm not trying to say we're suddenly amazing. We're good, but the baseline is a lot better. So as we improve the car this season, we should not only get off the bottom sooner, we might see ourselves even getting a little bit higher. 10th, possibly, maybe 9th before the end of the season. So we're a lot closer than we were last year. Hamilton claims pole, again going quickest. He gets the lap right at the end, almost a half second quicker than Vettel, who is second. His new teammate, Timo Glock, is third. Bottas, now in Ferrari, is fourth. Gasly, Ocon in the Red Bulls. And that's Ocon who replaced us. And Ocon was my driver at the end of the season, but I stole him, so they swapped seats. Ricciardo, Sainz, Perez, Magnussen, Leclerc in the Toro Rosso, and Grosjean. Definitely a shake-up in driver lineups. And I think based on the drivers that Red Bull have in Gasly and Ocon, which sadly Ocon not rated very well in this mod, I think the Red Bull is going to be struggling as third best and caught in between those top two teams and the midfield. But anyway, key summary is I think there is hope that we're going to be able to push more into the midfield this season, though of course we're starting the season out pretty weak. Little upset that Audi comes in from F2, and I've done that. I've been there. I've been that promoted team. But they come in from F2 with a car better than mine, even though there's a significant gap between the F1 cars and the F2 cars. That's a little disappointing that they immediately have the 11th best car. Now, how many laps are we dealing with? Where are we? Let's see. No, not grid. No. Where? Oh, where? There it is. 63 laps. 63 laps. That's a lot. Let's select that after. Let's go into the car setup and get this right. 63 was more than I was expecting. Oh yeah, we'll make it. We'll make the one-stopper work. Should. They should be able to make that. Oof. That is not as good for Vern. And wow, look at that form. A 2. We need 32 laps on that first stint. He should just about cover that. With a 30% bonus, we should be able to go pretty quick on these tires. And as long as Vern, I think Verstappen's going to have no problem, but Vern, not quite as good on the tire wear. If he can pull it off, that one-stop strategy, then with that 30% bonus, we should be pretty quick today. But here we are in Abu Dhabi. Hamilton on pole, Vettel completing the front row, and we're really looking at a two-horse race between the Ferraris and the Mercedes at the front. We're going to be battling it out from the back, but 15th should not be out of reach, especially for Verstappen today. If he gets a decent start, and he does get a heck of a start up to 15th at the moment, and we've got the Racing Point running wide, that's going to push him up another spot, and he makes a pass all the way up to 13th already. That was Lance Stroll who ran wide, but we've got two McLarens. What are they doing this far back? Verstappen battling all the way up to 13th right now, and he's got to look to the inside. He goes 12th ahead of Sainz, who's going backwards. Norris follows him through, and those McLarens again behind us, and we are all the way up right behind Romain Grosjean already in amongst the front runners. Cassidy has gotten his way up the order a little bit as well, but Verstappen, another move, gets up to P11 at the end of the first lap. I don't think he's going to hold that, especially with a form that's apparently dropping 1.9. I don't see how that happens when you gain 8 positions on the first lap. How is your form going backwards? Again, still going backwards. Now it's a 1.8. Vern, meanwhile, not a bad start either. He's up to 19th. So we run 11 and 19 right now. So, fantastic start. Vern's form is up, even though he's only gained 3 position. Max gains 9, right? Started 20th? No, 21st? 20th. We got a couple cars pitting already. Norris was on a puncture, and it looked like he had collided with somebody else. They were under investigation, not pitting. It looks like they are cleared. But Norris ends up having to go through. So the McLaren, it was either Grosjean or Hulkenberg. That puts the McLaren well behind his race. Not fully ruined, but he's lost a lot from that early collision. And Max now down to a 1.1 on form. Again, with the he gained numerous positions to start the race, and yet the form is just going backwards. Now it's a 1.0. Here comes the McLaren battling Robert Wickens, drive-through penalty for causing a collision. Maybe that's who it was. No, that's a new one, because he just had not full flat spot, but he certainly looked like he locked up and skidded through whatever that collision was. And Max drops to 12th. Not a big deal, as we are definitely not racing the McLaren in this one, but if we are battling for about 12th place, that's looking pretty good. It appears that Hulkenberg was the one who collided with Norris, as he has damage already. Now, this is the big prospect for this race that I'm looking for, as Max drops to 13th. After backing off, he's definitely not holding the pace he was a little bit ago. Verne is up to 17th, by the way. Wickens behind him with that drive-through is going to go back. Norris going back. Hulkenberg with damage is going to eventually go back. Again, form still going backwards. 0.4 now. Not understandable considering the scenario we find ourselves in. But anyway, the position we're in to start this race looking pretty good. And Verstappen, I covered him off fairly well. You can see we're 70% or better on every part 5 laps in already. Verne, meanwhile, he's got a couple parts that are pretty good, but he's still got a lot of parts that are in that 50 to 60% range. A lot of cars in the field are still going to have parts in that 50 to 60% range, meaning they're going to have 1 or 2 parts fail on them late in this race, and it's going to take them extra time in pit stops to fix those parts. Verne could be facing that scenario. More than half the field could be facing that scenario. So even though Max Verstappen has slipped to 15th now on the grid, as the cars that were on the Ultras that are fast right now, but will have to pit early, make their way back up the order. These guys were the ones that started in the top 12. So Grosjean, Leclerc that have gone through. The 2 cars that are ahead of me right now on a different strategy, Cassidy and Hulkenberg. Hulkenberg already has parts damage. So he either could be facing a DNF or an early and lengthy pit stop to repair said problem. So Max, I sure hope you can find some form here, because you've gone backwards, and you're backing yourself up right to your teammate, who's now just 2 seconds behind. In between us is Verline in the Audi. And it's lap 7. Let's go ahead and start speeding things up for a little while. Times for speed. It is the Ferraris out front, Vettel and Bottas in 1-2. Hamilton with a poor start slips to 3rd. Hulkenberg, there you go. As predicted, Hulkenberg pits and is fixing his problem here early. Oh, and he's going to come out on the ultra soft. Whew. So he loses a ton of time. He's now a minute behind in last place. And then he's going to have to pit again pretty early. It's only going to last about 20 laps on those tires. So interesting strategy there by the Renault. Anyway, Hamilton in 3rd after a poor start. Ocon up to 4th after a quality start. Ricciardo also a good start, up to 5th. Glock, terrible start, drops to 6th. And Gasly, also a poor start from him, drops him a couple positions to 7th. Then we're starting to see that separation. 5 seconds behind is Magnussen. Magnussen looks like he flat spotted those tires, so he'll have to pit early. Perez, Sainz, and then Cassidy in still a really strong position after a great start. Grosjean's going to pit very soon here. Those tires are toast. Leclerc also going to pit soon, and Grosjean into the pits, so that's Verstappen back up to 13th. Verne up to 15th. Verline in between us. Verline in a surprisingly good position. Kubica is in the Williams, 1 second down. Then Raikkonen, Stroll, Ericsson. I'm ahead of all of them, so that's who I'm really battling in this race. Verstappen, though, should be a little bit better off, but he is starting to open a gap. Even though the form is not there, he is finally opening a gap on Verne. Verne, good driver, but Verstappen does have the better car. There's a significant gap between those two right now, so I would expect Verstappen to be a bit ahead. Leclerc pitting, and we move up to 11th and 13th. Retired Timo Glock, mechanical issue. He might have taken contact on that first lap. that caused him some sort of problem that he was racing through. That could be why he was down in 7th. But he has retired, and he's not the only one. Robert Wickens retires with a mechanical issue. This is what I was talking about, of multiple cars having problems and it affecting their race. Now, I expected it to be lengthy pit stops and not necessarily retirements, but already we see 2 retirements, and that moves us up the order. Now remember, the FIA voted. We saw a new who just pit? Ocon pitting, but he's going to come out in 8th place, so he's still ahead of us. So those front 6 have pulled away. Grosjean with a problem. He collides with Kimi Räikkönen, and that's coming out of the pits, I think. No, he was out of the pits a little while ago, but he spun out because of it, I think. He went down the order a bit, so I think he might have spun out and then collided. Hamilton up into the race lead as Vettel pits. Vettel should recover that position, though, once Hamilton decides to pit. Ricciardo, Gasly have yet to pit. Perez and Sainz have yet to pit. Gasly pitting now. Those front 6 are definitely out of our reach, but we could still be battling the rest of the midfield. We've got a McLaren pitting. That's Sainz. He's going to come out behind Verstappen, but ahead of Verne. 4 seconds down on Verstappen. We are not battling him, though. He did opt for the Ultra Softs, which means he's going to need an extra pit stop later on. All right, tires have cooled. Let's go ahead and straighten that out. Stroll drive-through penalty for causing a collision. So that's going to hurt his race. As this race goes on, I'm liking our chances of getting into the points today better and better. We have not pit yet, so 9th and 12th. 8th and 12th now, a little bit deceiving. Perez just pit, came out behind us, a couple seconds down. Hamilton pits, Vettel back into the race lead. Hamilton comes out in 3rd place. 3rd place, so Vettel and Bottas recover 1-2. Hamilton in 3rd. Ocon now in 4th. Ricciardo, Gasly 5 and 6. Ricciardo's going to be out of our reach today, even though he's in the Renault. Cassidy has not pit, so Cassidy is somebody we are battling. However, Verstappen is about 9 seconds behind Cassidy, and Cassidy's on the mediums, so the Toro Rosso does look to be pretty quick. Meanwhile, comparing the other Toro Rosso, Leclerc, 20 seconds behind Verstappen. So with pit deltas, we might be battling Leclerc later on. He is on the Super Soft. He will not make it the whole distance on those, considering how much they have been used already. Now, Verstappen at 46%, he can definitely get the 10 laps or so that he needs out of them. But Verne is already down to 35% on these, so it's going to be a real stretch if he is going to make the one-stop strategy work. So Verne might drive off the cliff for a couple laps if he's going to do this. Otherwise, he's going to have to pit a second time to put on Ultra Softs, depending on how far he gets. It's lap 24 right now. McLaren has caught up to us. That is Sainz. He is on relatively fresh Ultra Softs. He pit 4 or 5 laps ago. I would imagine he will get around us, but Verstappen, good driver, might be able to defend, and so far has. Verne sets a personal best lap. Lighter fuel load. And nope. We can't hold them off. Sainz gets around. Verstappen now at 40%. Verne at 28. The cliff is 20% on these tires, and it's only lap 26. Let's go ahead and ride with Verne for a little bit. He sits in 11th place. Verline still in between them. Stroll retires with a mechanical issue. That's going to put him out of the race. Perez well down the order here with his problem that he had, so we can pretty much consider him out of contention. That is Magnussen. That is for position. He is on Super Softs, but he is already pit. He was one of the ones on the Ultras. His tires are fresher than ours. So I do expect that he's going to be a bit faster. Plus, he was faster to begin with, started further up the field. But at 22%, it's lap 29. We are almost there. We need to get 3 more laps out of these, and Vern's going to be pretty slow for those 3 laps. Plus, that's going to... Hold on. That's we're missing the pit anyway. We've got some time to think about this. So I'm about 5 laps short. How much slower are we going to be through this stretch? I would imagine we're going to start slowing up quite a bit. Let's keep an eye on the pace. So far, so good. Norris with some sort of issue. He's under investigation. Vern down to 18%. How slow are we going to be here? Second sector. Okay. It's not that bad. This is really stretching it. Where are we in comparison to the race leader? Because then we could really go lap 31, I would imagine, and get away with that, because I would think by some point we're going to get a lap down. There's our race leaders. There's second place, third place. Hamilton's back into the race lead. Vettel is dropped to third place, and Hamilton has just passed Bottas. So Vettel, I don't know what happened, but he has a problem. You can see some extra tire wear, so I'm guessing that Vettel made a mistake and spun out. Vern, 13th. We're going to pit this lap. We're going to pit this lap because he will eventually get lapped. So let's go ahead and do that now before he gets too crazy slow. Rear wing at 36%. How long would that take to fix? Oh, a long time. We're going to take our risk for now and not fix any of those parts and hope that he makes it through the race without issue. Let's go ahead and attack with what you have left. The great thing is he stayed ahead of Magnussen, so Magnussen never passed us. He's got good form at the moment. Didn't lose a ton of time, so that's good. Okay, now a lap down. We're going to go ahead and try to make this a good outlap. Put it on high. And we'll have Verstappen hanging on, and he's nearly where he needs to be. So let's go ahead and start his attack. I'm going to let him run a little bit longer here, as he has not hit the cliff. Still in P9 for him. Sainz is long gone, a full straightaway ahead. So we're 12 seconds behind Sainz, so we are not racing him. Meanwhile, Cassidy, who we're kind of racing, is now 16 seconds ahead of Verstappen, so he's out of it. We are definitely racing Verline, though, who's only 5 seconds down. Magnussen, no, I don't think we're racing him, but Grosjean, struggling with tire wear, is going to pit very soon, and we're 15 seconds, so we might have a chance at Grosjean in this race. Kubica has not pit, so we're absolutely racing him, but we're 20 seconds ahead, so I think we should be comfortably ahead of him. Leclerc, still somebody we're battling. Leclerc is almost 20 seconds behind and is going to pit again relatively soon. Okay, last lap for Verstappen. We're going to bring him in this time. And car is good, unlike Vern, where there are some concerns. Norris and Ericsson pitting and fixing problems. It's going to take them extra time. It's a good stop. That is a very good stop. Wow, we come out with the Ferraris and the Williams. And that is Bottas, who's gone by. Luckily, we did not get caught up in some sort of collision there. And that is now Kubica right behind us, who has not pit yet. Gets by for the moment. Can we get it back? Can we get that back? I do not want him getting ahead of us. Come on, come on. Come on, Max. You've got the fuel and the fresh tires, and you just got beat by the Williams. There you go. Back ahead. Alright, he's off before we heat these up too much. Alright, so 12th place. This is what I like, because he's now good to go to the end of the race. He's already in the points Leclerc, Magnussen, Verline, all going to pit soon. Cassidy about to pit. Sainz is all. Those guys all have to pit again. Cassidy pitting now. He should still be ahead of us when he comes out. And he is. He's actually still all the way up in 8th place. But these 3 cars, Verline, Magnussen, Leclerc, all have to pit again. And we will overtake those 3. So we're looking potentially at 9th place right now for Verstappen in this race. Vern, let's get his sit rep. He's a full straight behind and a little bit more. His tires, definitely more of a concern. Kubica, Raikkonen, and Rosberg are all going to have to pit. So that's 3 positions. That'll move him up to 14th. Here's Verline pitting now. Verline still sandwiched between our 2 drivers and actually quite a significant gap. So we won't get him. Leclerc will pit very soon. We might. But he's in a faster car in the Toro Rosso. He's also now under pressure from Hülkenberg, who might make it the distance. Grosjean might make the distance. Here we go. Raikkonen pitting. And that's going to be a couple spots. And there goes the Ferrari of Sebastian Vettel, who has now pit twice. And is trying to recover from a spin. So lap 42. Leclerc fixing a problem. This should be good for Vern. Vern should come out ahead of Leclerc. And he does. Leclerc still in the pits. So that's Vern up to 15th. Verstappen already back into 9th. Ricciardo pits, but he comes out ahead. Sainz has pit. He's out ahead. So yes, Verstappen is definitely looking at 9th place, but Verline is now suddenly coming back at him. Verline only 2 seconds behind Verstappen. Not sure how he picked up that time from about 6 seconds down, but Verline has covered about 4 seconds that he lost. And now he's only about a second and a half. So Verline is driving hard after coming out of his pit stop. Magnussen up to 11th. Grosjean 12th, probably will hang on. Rosberg's probably, he's got to pit. He will lose that position. So Vern right now is looking at maybe 14th. If Grosjean pits, 13th. But Vern, we still don't know that he's going to be good to go till the end of this race. And Leclerc just passed us. So we're down to 16th, looking at maybe 15th. There you go. And maybe 14th. But I think Vern's probably looking at about a 15th, while Verstappen's looking right about 9th. We're starting to open up that gap again. Verline's down to 3 seconds behind. Meanwhile, these guys have all pit twice. Ocon still has to pit again. So we're looking at a Hamilton race lead. He's pulled away from Bottas. Bottas just pit his second time and is 12.5 seconds behind Vettel. After that spin, goes from 1st to 3rd. And here we go, rear wing issues, and that's a lot of laps left. And I would imagine he is going to have to pit again. I'm going to ignore for right now, and we're going to start pushing. He's going to have to pit again, so 15th is now out of reach. He might get away with just the rear wing. That gearbox is iffy. The suspension is iffy. We're going to go a few more laps for him. And then we're going to have to pit and put on the ultras and fix a problem. So Hamilton's lead, 10 seconds. Bottas is cutting back a little bit, but Vettel is way too far behind now at 21 seconds down. Gasly just ahead of Ocon. Yellow flag, sector 1. I didn't see who spun. Somebody lost time though. Looks like no damage was taken. Sainz in 7th. Cassidy having a great race in 8th. Verstappen in 9th. 3 seconds ahead of Magnussen now. Verline going backwards, so Magnussen is on the charge here in the Haas. He definitely has a better car than we have, so 9th is not a guarantee for Verstappen. Verline, Grosjean, Hülkenberg, Leclerc, and then Vern. Vern, meanwhile, he's already overheating, so I think it's time to bring him in. And he will definitely make 12 laps. 28%. That is iffy, but hold on. How far is the part now? Still at 21. You know what? We're going to cancel, and let's just slow down. Get those tires back in range. We're not going to stop until we need to. We're just going to need to keep an eye on this. We're going to keep this open for a while. It's lap 52. He might make it. Three retirements. No crashes in this race at all, surprisingly. But as we get late on, and you see things like what Vern has here, a lot of cars are going to start seeing that. There you go. It drops to 14%. Gearbox also down to 21. Yeah, I know. Meanwhile, how are we looking over here? 31. He'll be okay. It's not great, but Verstappen will make it. Again, he's still in ninth. He's down to a 1.5 second lead. Grosjean has spun. I need Magnussen to be the one to do that, but he is 2 seconds down now, so Verstappen's doing okay. Cassidy might not make it on those tires, but I think he'll be okay. Let's see, anyone else needing to pit? Grosjean looks like he might have to pit. And Vern looking like he might need to pit, but also just as much for the rear wing as anything. With just 8 laps, we're going to hold out hope. If he gets down under 5%, unless there's only about 2 laps left, we will have to pit him, because right now he is in the points. 15th is the last points paying position, though Raikkonen is just 3 seconds behind. So any pit is race over. He will not get points if he pits. But it might be worthwhile. If he loses 15th position, if Raikkonen takes it on merit, then we might just pit Vern to repair the car now to save us a day of repairs after the race. Oh, fuel. Hello. Okay, we'll go back to driving neutral. 9th and 14th now. Grosjean pits. So Grosjean does pit. Hulkenberg may pit. Looks like Hulkenberg just locked up or something and took some tire damage, as he is now down to nothing on those tires. And he pits. And do we get past him? We do, just past him. Hulkenberg comes out of the pits right behind us. That is Hulkenberg on a brand new set of Ultra Softs. He will be faster. And oh my goodness, 2%, 6%. Vern, it's 4 laps. I don't know if he's going to make it 4 laps. He could retire, or he could finish this race. Oh, this is terrible. If we pit now, I mean, you look at it, he's going to drop all the way to 21st. So we've got to run the risk. I cannot look. Do what you can in these last 3 laps. Pushing is not advisable, though. There goes Hamilton. Hamilton even has problems as the race leader goes on by. That is Ricciardo behind us, not Hulkenberg. That is Ricciardo. And he's struggling to get past. We're at 24% on the tire wear, so we will make it on tires. We just might not make it mechanically. There goes Hulkenberg following his teammate through. And we drop to... Oh no, that was Grosjean going through. Hulkenberg was already passed. I didn't see that, but Vern's back down to 15th. Last lap of the race. Vern, finished. Okay, finished. He gets 15th. Verstappen, in 9th place, has not finished. He's on his final lap. And there you go. He's going to finish in 9th. Good job. So Vern hangs on, survives, gets in the points. It's going to take a long time repairing that car in particular, but he does keep the points, so it was worth the risk. Hamilton wins the race. Vettel gets up to 2nd. Bottas took a 3rd pit stop. I missed that one. He drops to third place. So Bottas pits a lap from the end of the race and drops from second to third. Ocon claims fourth, Gasly fifth, Ricciardo sixth. Solid result there for the Renault. McLaren of Sainz is seventh. Cassidy hangs on for eighth in the Toro Rosso. We get ninth with Verstappen. Magnussen, Verline drops to 11th. That's good because we are definitely racing against the Audi this season. Leclerc for the other Toro Rosso in 12th. That's going to give them a good boost to the start of the season. Hulkenberg 13th. Grosjean, the second Haas. They're probably going to be above me this season. But Williams, Kubica just missing out on the points. That's good for us that Vern hangs on. And then Norris, Rosberg, Raikkonen, the Alphas are out of the points. The racing points are out of the points. And then Glock and both Williams out of the points. Shouldn't see anybody getting demoted for broken rules just yet. Not that it's impossible, but unlikely this early in the season. But 9th and 15th. Good result in the end. Now Hamilton gets pole position bonus. Bottas gets fastest lap bonus, and it is 30 points for a race win now to fit in the 5 additional places for points. Ooh, Vettel had a drive-through penalty. So that's what dropped him from first to third. He spun out, collided with somebody, and then had to do a drive-through penalty. He recovers to second, but only because Bottas gives the position back to him through typical Ferrari strategy to favor Sebastian Vettel as they pit Bottas with 1 lap to go when he was comfortably 18 seconds ahead of Vettel. Or at least 10 seconds ahead of Vettel anyway. So Verstappen actually drops down the standings orders, but he's got 13 points already, and Vern gets his first point of the season and somehow drops down the order as well as other first-timers claim more points than he got. We're already down to just 5 drivers who have yet to score a point this season. Both Alphas are pointsless. Williams have 10 points on the season, and Audi, Rosberg yet to score, but then you have Verline with 19 points. Holy cow. Verline is having a heck of a season so far. So currently we sit in 9th place. Alpha, nothing. Racing Point have 2 points. Williams have 10. We are 9th with 14. Haas and McLaren both just 2 points ahead, and Audi 5 points ahead. Also Renault. I would imagine this season Toro Rosso look really strong. 42 points already. We'll have more than 42 points, but we are definitely not going to contend with Toro Rosso from the looks of it. Renault, I would imagine, is way too strong, especially with Ricciardo. I think he's rated as the best driver in the grid, or at least him and Hamilton are. Oh, don't forget Vettel. Audi, I should be able to beat car-wise, but they have 2 really good drivers as well, so they are going to score points. They're going to get results, just like we are, so it's going to be tough to beat Audi, though we could beat Audi this season, especially as we improve the car. McLaren, too strong of a car, too strong of a lineup, but we're only 2 points behind him at this point. Haas, maybe. We might be able to contest with Haas this season. We definitely can compete and hopefully beat the 3 that are behind us now. But that is going to do it for this episode. It's good round here. We got a lot of points today, and that definitely makes me happy. Be sure to hit that like button, and I'll see you next time for round number 3. Bye for now.